Got the record?
Almost there.
Okay.
Actually shows on my screen that the meeting is streaming live on YouTube.
Yeah, we got that. But there's YouTube and then we record it with Zoom. Looks like we're recording, right, Jeff?
Yep, and YouTube's going now too, so we're good.
All right. Jerry, we're ready to start the meeting.
Very good. Is there anyone there that wanted to speak to open forum?
Yes, I would like to speak open forum unless there's anyone else in the waiting room.
No, there isn't.
Okay, then. So as many of you know, my husband and I are working on a master plan for our property. Thank you, Ramsey. What you are seeing on your screen right now is the master plan that that was the right first one that you had. That Bayer Landscape has come up with for us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the first one is I think if you just scroll up a little bit, maybe. You go back to the other one and then scroll up. I think somehow it got scrolled down.
I don't know what happened. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Or not. Maybe it scrolled down. I don't know. It's only one page.
I see what happened. For whatever reason,
Okay.
it went real big on us.
Okay.
I got more to reduce. There we go.
There we go. So this is our master plan. We have the house, which currently has a circular driveway around the back. And the barn and the pond are all current. That other block aside from the house. Next to the house is the new garage, and then behind that is the existing barn. So the big changes are going to be eliminating the circular driveway around the back of the house. That's the biggest change we would like to make in phase one. We went through many renditions of adding a garage, attaching a garage, placing it so that we could keep the circular driveway behind the house, and none of them presented really good options. So what Mark Bayer came up with us was to keep the driveway on the right side of the house if you're looking at the house, which currently goes straight back, and to place a new detached garage at the back of the house and a patio walkway where the driveway would have continued around. So this is our master plan as of now, but phase one, Ramsey, if you could go to the next one. So phase one is what you see here, which is basically the addition of the garage, the terrace / patio. Mark has suggested bringing the circular driveway in front of the house. We'd like to live with the one side for a while to decide if that's necessary. We don't want to lose the curb cut, but so we won't eliminate the other driveway that will remain unused, but we'd like to live with it for a few years to decide if we need to bring that circular driveway in front of the house. So the drive will head back. There'll be a parking area and then a 2.5-ish car garage with a terrace, patio, and there's a little garden area with the fence around it and an arbor and a gate to enter. That is probably unlikely to happen in our very first phase one. The phase one, I think, is most likely going to be the parking area, the garage, and the terrace. Just due to money constraints. So if you want to go to the next slide, Ramsey.
Which is going to be the house.
The house. So and I really should have sent you a picture. Currently, we have the door is a foot over from where you see it in this picture, and we have a series of windows to the right of the door. We don't have to alter the mudroom in the entrance to build the garage, but we'd like to. We're talking to contractors, trying to get a sense if we pricing and if we can do that in our phase one. We're still really in the idea phase for this, because I've been talking to contractors and trying to get a sense of what we can do. So currently there's an aluminum awning over the door and the windows, probably added in the 50s. It's really something. But if we don't move the door, we'll need to do that work at the same time that we move the door and the windows. So at this point, I don't know entirely what will happen with this. I should know soon, but I wanted to give you a sense of what we're thinking of moving doors and windows, and the overhang will build something other than an aluminum awning. Okay, so the next slide is actually, Ramsey, could you go to the last one for now first? Okay, so this will give you a sense. Jennifer Takich is the architect we've been working with. And we decided on a very simple design, trying to go for something like some sort of an outbuilding that would have been close to the house originally, whether it was a barn or something else. So we thought about a couple other designs. I think there are other designs that might be more interesting and maybe more pleasing, but given the gables on the house and all the angles, I think right now we're focused on just keeping it pretty simple. John had given us some good ideas and some changes we're thinking of, going with some wider garage doors. We've already decided to lose the cupola, and we're gonna play with the windows around the barn, around the garage, and we're not gonna do the stone. So it will be like a board and batten, probably standing seam, metal roof, and the garage doors will be some rendition of a carriage style. And there'll be windows on every side. Jennifer had put in these windows. I'm not sure exactly what style I'm going to go with. This is, again, just an overview. And if you go to that second to last slide, Ramsey, this shows, and you can ignore her rendition of the patio. That's just kind of roughed in. Their landscapes drawings are the accurate ones for that. She's got the gate and the arbor in a different place, but when we do it, which will probably be a phase 2, it'll be out by the garage, the end of the garage. So it's just gonna be pretty simple, 2-car. I think we're doing 9-foot wide doors. I think they're 8 feet high. We decided to go with 9 feet instead of 8 feet. With there's a area for our garbage toters around the corner, storage. We are doing a storage up in the attic area. I don't know if we'll do pull down stairs or a staircase. Still kind of talking about that. And the windows facing the patio, I sort of favor 2 sets, but again, not quite settled on those details. But this is the overall thought of where to put the garage, and to do a very simple building that not intended at all to match the house, more intended to be a period appropriate outbuilding that might have been there originally. So I'm just looking for general feedback tonight. Talked to our second contractor this week, talking to our third one next week. I believe we're pushed to next year at this point. We were originally hoping for the fall, but that's just not possible with schedules and everything that's going on. So we're looking at probably next spring as soon as they could start to build. Because of that, we are thinking about doing some work on the barn in the fall. So I'll likely be back in a month or two with our thoughts on that. We did talk to a mason, Marty Neighbors, who was the first guy we talked to who really had a great idea, some great ideas for a plan to save what's there, make it safe, make it somewhat usable. So yeah, that's really it when it comes to the plan. So if there's any feedback at this stage, again, design details will obviously be back with detailed drawings and definite things when it's time. But any thoughts on where we stand?
Well, it looks good.
Thanks.
Couple of minor thoughts. One, I think you might want to consider a permanent stairway to the second floor as opposed to a pull down. You will probably use that space more than you think you do. And having to fool with a pull down stairway, they're not as safe, and it's hard to carry larger things up to that space. So might want to think about that.
Yeah.
The cupola would provide a way of venting that upstairs area, so it wouldn't be too warm unless you put in gable vents, which you could do, I guess. But looks good. Looks good.
Amanda, I agree very much with Jerry. We had the same situation. I had to squeeze in a set of stairs for this entire office. So what do you have, what's the elevation of your floor in the garage? Do you have knee walls above that, or does the roof come right down?
I made so many changes.
Do you have an elevation of it? You do. We saw the garage.
Yes. I'm looking for my.
No knee walls.
No knee walls, okay. But still, yeah, I had to carve it out, and it's go for the stairs.
All right, thank you. I will definitely. I feel like she didn't put them in. She's got pull down in the current design.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
So
The only problem with knee walls is they are going to raise the elevation some, and you don't want it to be too tall. And knee walls are probably going to add, if you extend them all the way to the eaves, they're going to add 4 feet or so to the height.
Okay.
I was just asking that because that's what our situation was. Our garage was too short and it grew, but that looks good.
I think the plan that you're working out with Mark is very nice. If you're able to do the gardening adjacent to the garage, it's a very nice touch.
It's definitely something we are planning to do. Whether it's going to get done in this round one or not is just everything's kind of depending on what everything's going to cost. So we've got a budget but it definitely will get done. I mean, I'm inclined to do all of the stone work. I would like to do natural stone. I really think that's the best option. But right now the terrace is very expensive. So if we want to do that, which I think that's the right thing to do for this house, it's where we can cut elsewhere for now. So I did not realize that it was that much stone would be that expensive. And the driveway and parking area are just going to be crushed stone for now. We're not going to pave anything. We have asphalt just in the back, and that will come up because it's where the garage will be. We're going to do crushed stone. And until we decide on the permanent status of the driveway, I don't like the look of asphalt next to our house. But if we have to pave the parking area for, kids, for convenience, I could see doing that. But I think the driveway probably will always stay crushed stone.
Well, you might want to think about that, especially when you plow the snow in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've been talking to Mark about, because we currently don't have, it was very hard to find someone to plow for us. But part of that was also the fact that it's such a big area. We had a lot of contractors tell us they can do 4 or 5 other driveways in the time that it takes them to do ours. And they didn't care how much we want to just pay them. They just didn't want to do it. So it's definitely something we're keeping our eye on. And one of the reasons why, if we can get away with just the one driveway on the side then and not need anything in the front, I think we'll be okay. But we want to live with that before committing to it.
Oh, you're talking about not doing the circle in the front.
Yeah, we're not going to do that in phase 1. We're going to leave the driveway. If you see the dashed lines on the plan, the driveway is currently just straight.
Right.
You know, Mark's dream is to have a lovely curved driveway, but we're just going to leave the driveway for now where it is and live with it for a few years. And then we won't remove the other driveway. We won't be using it anymore because they won't connect. But we'll leave it there and decide if we're going to bring it in front of the house or not. So, yeah, I don't think we'll need it, and I would prefer not to have anything in front of the house. One of the driving points of doing the mudroom over is that it is the main entrance to our house, and currently is not a very welcoming area with the laundry and whatnot, everything in there. If we did the driveway in front of the house, we could utilize our front door for guests, and that would be, we would, you know, maybe not need to renovate the mudroom, but we've got to make that decision. I'd like to live with the one driveway for a little while.
Well, let me just throw in my 2 cents worth. Yeah. Having a circle driveway in front will make it much more convenient for people, the UPS driver or whomever comes to the house, rather than having to back out, you know, if the parking space is full, rather than having to back out on French Road. I think you'd find it an asset to do that.
Yeah, if we just do the one side, we are going to have to take out some trees because you currently in the summertime, you cannot see out that side. I had to back out yesterday when I got home with the guy who mows the lawn was in the driveway, and you absolutely cannot see. Currently all the trucks drive all the way around because it's a big circular driveway. So yeah, that's definitely one of the considerations that we'll have to see how that ends up. I think the parking area will, you know, we only have 2 cars. They'll stay in the garage while we're home because the garage is nice and close. So that should be free for trucks, but it's something we'll have to, I guess, evaluate for that next step.
Well, buy your husband an old pickup truck with a plow for the wintertime.
He asked for one every Christmas.
There you go. Looks good.
So thank you.
Exciting.
So yeah, this will most likely be spring, but I wanted to get started, and I'll be back with probably the detailed decisions on the design and then more feedback as we do that. The other thing I had not related to this project is that we would like to rebuild our second chimney. The chimney, the only thing that's through right now is the gas fireplace. Both chimneys needed to work when we bought the house. We negotiated the replacement of one in the cost, and the mason that did that agreed that we could wait for the other one, but we bought the bricks at the time. So we'd like to rebuild the same thing, iron spotted. The bricks are the same that are currently there, the same type. They're a slightly different shade, but they do match the chimney that was rebuilt when we bought the house. We bought them at the same time. We're not going to change anything. Rebuilt exactly the same. I know as far as the lining and the vent goes, obviously that would be updated to current requirements, but I'd asked Ramsey because I've never seen us discuss rebuilding a chimney before, but if it's the same thing, do I need a certificate of appropriateness?
No. As long as it's the same materials in the same place, you do not.
Yep, it should be, I've asked the mason to do it identical to what's there, which is pretty simple.
And Marty Neighbor is your man.
He's actually not gonna do the chimney. We already got a quote from we already talked to the mason who did the first one, Terry Scanlon. And so he's got us on the schedule for the fall. That was before actually we talked to Marty Neighbors. So if for some reason Terry can't do it, then we would talk to Marty. But I think Marty's gonna do the work on the barn. He said he would love to do it if it's before he retires. So if we can do some work this fall, we might jump on that.
Oh my God. You didn't just say that, did you?
He said he's plotting his exit plan.
Oh God.
All the good guys are going.
Yeah. So so the phase one of the barn would be basically taking the rough part, the rough walls that are falling down to like retaining wall height. And he described how they would cut and work it so that the walls that were doing well, standing, preserved, could stay that way. So he was really the first person to the first mason we've talked to, a couple, to give us a really clear, thoughtful, reasonable plan for the barn. So when I met with him, I said, okay, we're gonna do, you can't retire till you help us do this. So yeah, that's it. So thank you for listening. I know this is going to be you'll hear from me a couple of times, and I appreciate your time during the open forum.
Great presenting. Great job.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Anyone else for open forum?
Let me check here, Jerry, if you give me a sec. I don't think so. No, I don't see anyone else, Jerry.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ramsey, would you call the roll, please?
Dreyer,
Here.
Page,
Here.
Whitaker, I see David. You want to unmute yourself, David?
I said here.
He's there. DeBecchio,
Here.
Robertson,
Here,
Ludwig,
Here.
all present
We're there.
except Goodman. Member Goodman is not present.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we have minutes from February 27th?
We sent them out.
I don't know, Ramsey, was I at that meeting? I don't think I was.
I didn't get the minutes from February unless they were sent. Wait, were they sent back in March?
Yeah, they were probably sent a while ago. I'm not sure exactly when. Jerry, you were there in February. If you guys
Okay.
are not ready, we can resend them out to you. We can do them next month. If you're not ready.
Okay, very, thank
Please.
you.
Yeah.
Is that what we should do?
yes,
Was this meeting duly advertised, Ramsey?
If you could just give me 1 second, I'm falling behind a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
I gotta write notes for Gretchen. Yes, this meeting was properly advertised in the Brighton Pittsford Post of June 18th, 2020.
Okay, that meeting as duly advertised will now be held. First item was communications. We have a letter from Laura Mancuso, Richard Ellis, responding to a letter from Ramsey. Ramsey, you just want to fill us in on that really quickly?
Yes, it was in response to a cell tower provider carrier that was putting new antennas on the Mortimer water tank off of Crittenton Road. For some reason, because I'm not sure quite, they had to do a historic evaluation of the surrounding area. They asked if I knew of any historic resources. I did respond to the historic properties that we have designated along Crittenton Road. And they said thank you, but they did not meet their criteria, and that's pretty much what the letter said.
Very
It's just
good. Thank
following
you.
up that they got our letter and they said, they're not federally or state, and I think that's what they were looking for.
Great, thank you.
If I could ask that we receive and file those communications.
I'll make that motion if it's needed.
Yes, if you would, John.
That's John Page.
John Page, do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Becker, second.
Or do you want to do a roll call?
Second. All in favor, right?
Yes.
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 Okay, we have no designation of landmarks. We have no certificates of appropriateness. We have no hardship applications. Public hearings are now closed. Let's see, any new business? No new business, old business. We've got, looks like 7 properties to talk about. First one is 2369 East Avenue, and I believe that's the, which one is that, Ramsey? I don't have my properties in front of us. 2369.
Okay, hold on.
It's the Frank Ellison house across from Stone Tolan. The
Oh,
brick,
yeah, okay, yeah. Well, what do you think? I've noticed the house has been changed quite a bit, and they, unfortunately, I guess they tore down the carriage house at some point. I think that one had quite an elaborate carriage house at one point. Or am I thinking of something else?
I thought it was interesting that the architectural historian who did the update noted that it would be more efficient and effective if this house were part of a designation of a district, and we had recently talked about that. So I think if that is at all on our radar, that we might proceed with that at some point in the next few years. We had talked about a grant for a survey of a district. Then I would suggest keeping it on the list, but not moving forward with designation at this time.
I would concur.
I'm good with that.
Did we submit that grant?
Pardon?
Did we submit the grant application for that survey? Mary Jo, you might know.
Mary Jo.
yeah, we looked into the Preservation League grant. And I'm trying to remember now, it's been so long since we discussed it back in February. I talked with Aaron there, and we elected not to go forward with it. Ramsey, you know that.
Yeah, I do kind of remember that, Mary Jo.
Okay. Nevertheless, I think if it's still something we would consider in the future, then I think it's worth keeping this on the list, and not moving forward with designation.
Okay. Any other comments about 2369?
I think it's a handsome house, even though it is been through a lot. And I like Paul Mallow's comment that it was a little heavy-handed, but it is on a main corner and it is very visible. And really not.
Well, it's more heavy-handed now than when Paul looked at it. Anything else on that one? 3333 Elmwood. This one has some potential contentious owners who would be totally opposed. The house has changed considerably. I'm at best lukewarm on this.
But again, we can stop any further construction problems
Well,
on the list.
it's on the list, but it doesn't necessarily have to be designated, right?
No, but if we don't have plans, this is Ramsey, if we don't have plans to designate them, we probably want to consider removing it from the list.
In 2002, it was considered for a designation to the New York State and National Registers.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
It seems to be, to me, it seems like the strongest quality was the connection to the Lindsay family.
Yeah.
It's also connected to the properties on Clover Street, 1550 Clover Street and 1496. The addition, as you look at the house, the section on the left, the east section of the house, was the little white schoolhouse that started out at 1496 Clover Street and was part of the Celeste Giblos Clover Street Seminary. So that's got a lot of history to it, even though it's now changed, altered, but the building is still there underneath the new material.
Okay. Anything else? Comments, one and all?
We were inside the house. This is not relevant really, but it really is a two-family house with two separate entrances, two separate staircases, and kind of separated from each other.
Interesting.
We didn't get an update on this. Do we know if anything has been, I guess, what has been done since the survey?
Nothing that I've seen on the outside. I mean, I don't think there's been any work on it. I know that when we designated the Jim Johnson house, which is kind of behind it down a little lane, the owners came in and they were, let's put it this way, they were not on our, they did not volunteer to have it designated.
I would agree with you on that, Jerry. They were not,
Yeah.
they were opposed.
Yeah, I would pass on
It's
this.
not the same house that was originally there, that's for sure.
I would pass. That's my opinion, but
I'm kind of lukewarm on it. It's a handsome house and it's an example of a house that could have been designated twice. Originally, and after it was redone fairly nicely. Malo gave it a red, which is, pretty high, but like I say, I'm kind of lukewarm about the property myself.
okay. Anyone else? Thoughts? So leave it on the list, take it off the list.
To remove it from the list, I would want a motion in a second and take a vote if we were to remove it from the list.
Okay,
Well, it doesn't sound like.
anyone
Mr.
to put
Jack's
forth
got
that
it.
motion?
I don't.
This is John Page. I'll put forth that motion.
Yeah, I have a second.
I'll second. Amanda Dreer.
Okay. Any discussion? Ramsey, do you want to call for a vote?
I think it's just visually important, just driving around the neighborhood. That's all. Not that I love it that much.
Ready? Member Ludwig?
Take it off the list, which is a no or yes?
Yes to take it
Yes
off.
to remove it, okay.
Yes to remove it off the list.
Yes.
Robertson?
I'm gonna say no for now.
DeVecchio?
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Greer,
Yes.
Amanda. Where did I hear her? I see the yes. So it was a yes.
Yes.
Yes, it will be taken off the list of properties that have been surveyed but not designated. Thank you.
Very good. 3644 Elmwood. Which one's that? I apologize, I don't have my, all my notes with me.
This
There-
is
That's a little clapboard house next to Country Club of Rochester on Elmwood Avenue.
Oh, yeah. Talked about this before, I think.
19th century.
Again, I'm kind of lukewarm on that, at best. Anyone else?
That's a gray farmhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost charcoal gray.
It has a decent social history, but I'm also, sorry, Mary Jo, also lukewarm on it. It's an interesting patchwork and an interesting history associated with the golf club and everything, but it doesn't quite rise to my excitation.
Okay.
I would agree with what's been said.
Anyone else? Motion to remove it from the list?
I'll make the motion, Amanda Dreer.
I'll second that. Diana Robinson.
Okay, take the vote. Ludwig,
Yes.
Robertson. Robertson,
Yes.
DeVecchio,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Greer,
Yes.
motion passes. It will be taken off the list of properties that have been surveyed but not designated.
All right, next one is the, I believe it's the schoolhouse, 909 North Landing Road.
I like this one.
Good.
Yeah, I do too.
It's really interesting with the an early use of a variety of concrete block in a way that's actually nicely done.
Mary Jo and I spent a lot of time looking at it over the years.
And I went to first grade there too.
Well, oh, well,
There's reason enough.
that's enough, right there. Call for a vote.
Social
Read the
significance.
survey.
Wow.
It seems like the church has taken very good care of the property, but they may not always be the owner. And I agree. I think it's a good candidate for designation.
Great. Anyone else? Motion to leave it on the list with an eye towards starting the designation process.
I'll make the motion. Wait a second.
We don't need a motion, to just keep it on the list.
Okay.
If you wanted to send the first letter, this is Ramsey. If you want to send the first letter, we could do that. And we
I
could
would-
use a motion in a second for that.
I would suggest we go through the list first and then
Okay.
maybe pick one.
All right, so it doesn't take any action to keep it on the list. It takes a
Yes.
motion to take it off the list. Okay,
Next.
Next, Jerry.
Next one, Jerry.
Yes is on the list or yes is off?
No, it's kept on the list.
Okay,
Unless someone
yes.
wants to make a motion to take it off or make a motion to send the first letter. Beyond that, that's all you need to do.
Okay, so
It
it's on
stays
the
on the
list.
list automatically.
Great. Okay, next is 332 South Landing Road. I have no idea what that is.
That's the Arthur Headley designed house owned by Oliver DeRitter. It's at the corner of Landing Road South and Linden Avenue, across from the firehouse.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's almost the slanted walls.
This is a gorgeous building, and
Yeah.
Chris Brandt brought me up to date about how Headley did eccentric classical buildings like this, and this is my favorite one. I'm gonna be going for letter on this one.
Okay.
I didn't notice a rating on the original survey, and the update did not have a mention of it either. Did I miss that somewhere, or was it not rated in the original survey?
I think it must not have been part of the original 75, and that it must have gotten done later maybe, and then when they didn't rate them all the time.
That's correct.
It's the Professional
It was
House.
surveyed in 2004, and there was no rating on it.
Okay.
That's currently the Professional House.
The who? I'm sorry.
Professional.
Oh, okay.
And her.
So it stays on the list.
Yes.
Unless someone. All right. 1940 Monroe Avenue, 12 Corners Plaza.
Personally, I don't think it needs to be on the list. It's got great social history. I don't see anything happening to make that corner do anything significantly different than what it's doing. But I'm sensitive to the notion that this one would ride entirely on social history and the fact that it was a very early example of that type of business plaza. But
Right.
I could have it off the list personally.
I would go for the social history, and I also go for future owners and future changes, that we would have some say in the matter.
Now, we did get a courtesy visit from the bank who made some alterations a bunch of years ago. The bank at the on the back right-hand side as you face it. And I don't know whether they came to us just out of, I don't think they had to come to us, but it was on the list, and they felt that it would be a proper thing to do if it came before us. So for that reason, and I agree with Diane, I think it should, for the social history alone. And you never know. I think it's certainly preferable to a used car lot.
And the facades now at this present time are sort of attractive and uniform and
Right.
not unpleasant.
Anyone else? Weigh in?
I say I agree with John. I'm not sure that, well, as the letter, the update indicated, based solely on the social history, and I was trying to think of, would the town's, zoning and the other, if someone were going to change it quite a bit, would that be detrimental? If they have to go through all the town's other, they have to apply for variances and whatnot. And I think I would trust that process. I don't necessarily think that we need to be involved because it is so different, but that's just my take.
That's okay. Anyone else? So do we have a motion to remove it from the list? Or a motion to keep it on the list?
You don't need a motion to keep it on, just to take it off.
Just for the sake of making a determination here, I'll make the motion to remove it, and then we'll see where it goes.
Okay,
Motion page.
I'll second the motion. Amanda Dreer.
any other comments? Ramsey?
Ludwig,
Yes, take it off the list.
take it off the list.
Yes,
Robertson,
No. Diana Robinson.
DeBecchio,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Dreyer.
Yes.
It is, will be removed from the list of properties that have been surveyed but not designated.
okay. Finally, we have 1037 South Winton Road. Chabad Lidowich. It's a Brighton brick.
Do we ever hear back from Supervisor Maley on any communications with the rabbi?
Good question.
I have not, I don't know if Councilman Gordon, Ken Gordon. Go back a few years,
That
Ken.
was 20 years ago.
Town Attorney Gordon, how
No.
about that?
I did speak with the supervisor about the issue. He agreed that it would be wise for him to have a conversation with the rabbi. I do not know whether that conversation occurred. The supervisor probably has not recalled that conversation. I certainly didn't until you just mentioned it now, quite honestly. So I'm guessing the conversation has not occurred, and perhaps I would suggest not taking any further action until I get to talk with the supervisor about that, and we can just carry this over to your next meeting if that meets with your pleasure.
I think it's a fine idea, Ken.
I agree.
Okay, anyone opposed to that? So that stays on the list. Thank you. Any other old business?
I'd like to initiate a letter if we can get agreement on that. Now, Ramsey, where do we have a letter out?
What? I'm sorry, John.
Do we have anything on the docket that's being considered for designation that already has had a letter sent and that we haven't designated?
Not that I can think of, John, but let me just go through these files.
If not, then I would like to go for 3325 South Landing. Number one, and then number two.
You mean wait a minute.
909 North Landing,
Oh, okay.
the landings as they're known.
Do we need to, did we ever have a survey updated on either one of those?
Let me check.
The update of the survey for 909 North Landing was authorized on November 21st last year.
We have it.
What was the other property?
Yeah, it's all that was sent out to you. It was updated by Katie May 27th of this year, and
Yes.
you all should have that.
And 332 is updated 2004.
332, the update was authorized in October. So
And
you,
we got it in February 2020, so you have that one too.
As far as I understand, Ramsey, we're all up to date on the work that was given to Katie to do.
Yes. Yes, we are. That's all the work that we have coming to us.
Do you want me to do applications then for both properties?
I wouldn't do both at once. Well, you could do an
I
application, I guess.
prepare the application.
Yeah, I don't see why
That
not.
would be the next step, is to get the applications. Once we get the applications, then the board can bring the matter up, and actually, I'm glad Mary J brought that up. Then that's when we send the first letter out.
Right.
The property owner would have the right to view the application.
Okay. So is there a motion to direct Mary Jo to prepare the applications?
I make a motion. What is it?
Thank you, David. Second?
Whitaker
second
makes
it.
the motion,
Page.
second by Page, and that is have Mary Jo prepare the applications for its 909 North Landing Road.
Yes.
And the second one is it 332 North Landing Road?
South.
South
South
Landing Road, sorry. Remember Ludwig?
Yes.
Robertson?
Yes,
Vecchio?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Page?
Yes.
Greer? Amanda?
I see the mouth moving.
I saw yes on the lips. I don't know why that we didn't hear her. Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. Any other old business? Presentations? Announcements? Motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Vecchio?
Second?
Motion, yes, sorry. Motion, let's adjourn.
Whitaker, seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate all your effort, patience, and doing such a good job. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good
Well
night.
done.
Thank you, Jeff.
Glad
Thank
we
you,
have
Brett.
this
Thank you,
one.
Ramsey.
Hey, Jeff, nice job if you're listening, buddy. And Brett, you're in on this, so we'll keep this going. We'll keep it going. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
worked out really well.
Good night, all.
The guys do a good job. Thank you, guys.